we are in a new era. The time is definitely over where you had to be graduating from a particular art school to have a shot at being an artist in this world, or where you needed to be discovered in any particular way, or where everything is about connections and, you know, only for the privileged, or who knows what. Yeah. So nowadays we're in an era where you can take things into your own hands. So having the dream of being an artist is not just a dream anymore. It is more than achievable. The thing is that, you know, yes, it takes time, perhaps, for some more, for some less. But time is really quite relative, because, you know, when I had the experience in 2016, where until then I was a fashion designer, but very unhappy, not fully embraced in it anymore, but kind of just lingering onto the identity of being a fashion designer more than being a fashion designer. But because I spent so much time at university and after university with that, creating, you know, my brands, and sort of trying to manifest the vision that I had for all these years, putting money and effort and energy into it like nothing else, I felt like I needed to cling on to the identity of being a fashion designer, when actually my heart wasn't a fashion designer. So back then, in 2016, when I decided it was out of a situation that kind of kicked me into being open finally to releasing that, to letting it go, because I was fooling myself for too long. Something happened in 2016 where all of a sudden I had this moment where I realized, now I have the energy to just be who I am, to just be the artist again, to embrace what I am naturally, and not to try to be something else that I'm not, or try to be something particularly special that my mind thought was special, but actually see what I had already, to actually go back into using the gifts that I had that came natural to me. And that was going back into art. I had such fear for so many years that I couldn't change around my career from being a fashion designer to anything else, because it would take ages. It would take ages, I thought, to now be able to be anything else. I would have to start from ground zero, and it wouldn't be able to change this fast. Funny story is that actually, within the moment that I've decided that I was going to really release what I was supposed to release for a while, my life changed within a moment. So the feeling of it's going to take ages completely disappeared, because all of a sudden I had gained myself. I had gained who I truly was, and it didn't feel like I needed to start from scratch again. It felt exciting, first of all, and second of all, everything turned around within a year. Within a year, I was more myself, from deciding that, because I then decided, okay, I'm going to do art courses, embrace my art again, did a DJ course, acting course. I mean, I went crazy, but then I started to study what I truly wanted to study. I started studying art therapy and life coaching, and I done the life coaching diploma within 7 months. And already, obviously, in the part of creating that, of doing that new diploma, I was already starting to work in it. So within a short period of time, my life was completely different, and something that I would have never seen just a year before that. So you can take things into your own hands straight away. You might not see exactly how it will look like, but it's important to trust your soul's impulses for you. That if you have a desire, and if your soul is taking you towards create more art, create a business with your art, that it is real. It is a real calling from your soul that has the best intentions for you, that has a huge plan for you that you cannot even think about. Like, you can't even see it until you trust it, release whatever you're doing right now that you haven't even enjoyed for such a long time, and release it and just jump into that new energy. Because as soon as you jump into that new energy, into that new consciousness, you quantum leap into that presence. And it's like you are going from one universe to the other. And within that jump from 1 second to the next, you're in this new universe, and you are seeing the world completely different. It's a complete shift of change, possibilities, opportunities, realities. And that is what happens in that moment when you take a decision that you've put off for such a long time because of fear. Because yeah, in that consciousness of fear, you cannot see how life is when you are, until you are in that new consciousness, in that new universe. All of a sudden, everything is different. So if you want to be an artist, if you are an artist, if you're drawn towards it, if you have the dream, if you had the dream for a long time, if you just stumbled across this accidentally, you don't have to have those limiting beliefs anymore that we have been given, that, you know, selling art is selling out, or that, you know, artists are starving artists. All of that, you can scrap that. None of that is true, because there is a greater plan by the universe, that you using your gifts, your talents, your art. It's the time of the art right now. Anyway, we're in the new consciousness. Everything is about you, about artists right now. They're rising and rising and rising. More artists are waking up to the artistry, because not because they hadn't had that potential within them all along, because it's always been there, but because it's the time of self-actualization to one's true potential. We're all artists. And now we have, with this day and age, with the internet and with all that connection of being able to find people everywhere, connect with people everywhere, people being able to see you online everywhere, we're able to put our own destiny into our own hands. So forget all those negative self-beliefs of, you know, I need to be in a certain place, or I need to graduate from a certain school, or, you know, all of that, what you feel you need to be in order to be an artist. No, now you can be anything. You can just be who you are and start from there and create yourself, because there will be buyers who will love your art and they don't care about where you graduated from. It's a completely different business when you are obviously wanting to be an artist that's represented by galleries. You know, there's different processes there, but even there, you do not have to have all these labels that people needed before. We're free now. We're free to create. So yeah, just embrace it. Follow your passion. Follow your purpose. Meaning, and what it means is basically just answer your soul's calling. Like when you have a curiosity, when you have, you know, a desire, when you have a question, it is because there's an answer, because there is something in it for you, because it's your soul's path to go. Otherwise, you wouldn't have all those thoughts, wishes, dreams, curiosities at all. They're all just guiding lights. Embrace it. So you can be an artist today. You can start today. Don't worry about how long it takes, because it might take 5 years, it might take a year, it might take a few months, it might take a week. It really, really is so irrelevant, really, because as long as you are doing what you love and you are in that space of sharing your art, creating, you will see how within a moment you will be in that new universe where you will see everything and all these possibilities so differently, because you've moved yourself out of that other consciousness, out of the fear consciousness, which from my story before, that I was stuck in for a very long time. And I need to watch it. I need to watch that I'm not finding myself in that energy again, where I'm like, you know, because our ego is very, very tricky. It's very, very clever. It gets to know our ways of working. And if we outsmarted it, it will come back and outsmart us, right? So it's a constant game of observing, of looking at ourselves, and noticing, who has my ego outsmarted me again? So where do I need to outsmart it? So yeah, we just need to be open to do that. All right, so we are post number 6. So this is for you if you're not feeling like you're a real artist because you haven't sold any work yet. I read this post the other day. It was actually a great post. It's from a fellow artist coach. And she mentioned this, which I loved. It was a great sentence about it doesn't matter whether, you know, when the time that you've created your art and the time that you sell your art, the time and distance in between it doesn't matter when that's going to be. So how much time passes in between, it doesn't lessen the value of your work. And I absolutely loved that quote. And look, you are an artist no matter what. It has nothing to do with selling your work and being an official artist, because being an artist doesn't contain the term that you sell anything monetarily, financially. It's just who you are. Being an artist is what you do, is who you are. So it is you expressing yourself. So actually being an artist for me is really a synonym of being human, of living your potential as a human being. You know, that is being an artist for me. And it's you creating your creativity and creating something from it, and then allowing that creation to transform, to emerge, to develop into what it's supposed to be. So it's you really, you know, aligning to nature's cycle, and creating something new, creating perhaps an innovation, or using a thought of something that already exists and creating something new with it. You know, it's about you not being in your default and your repetitive robotic self, but you being in your authentic and true self. So these are all these things that I attach to it, but what do you attach to it? Being an artist doesn't mean that you have to have sold anything, and it doesn't determine your value whatsoever, whether you have sold anything or not. So if you decide to be an artist that wants to sell their work, that doesn't make you more valuable than if you decide to be an artist that doesn't sell their work. So that, I just want to scrap that out of your mind. It has nothing to do with that. If you decide to be an artist who sells their work, then, you know, that's a decision that you make. If you decide to be an artist that just creates it for themselves, then that's a decision you make. And, you know, it's just a question of like, that decision that you make, is it true to you? If it's true to you, then that's all that matters. And you are an artist no matter what. So, you know, oftentimes people say, yeah, but I'm not an artist, but they might be creating art. And then somehow, you know, they devalue themselves and say that they're not an artist, but they are creating. So why are you saying that? And hey, I'm sure putting my hand up here as well, because this is something I've taught myself. And it's not true. It doesn't make me not be an artist, or hasn't made me not be an artist. If you want to, you know, become an artist by profession, then, you know, that might be that underlying wish you have that is unfulfilled, that makes you say, but I'm not an artist. But I'm not an artist. Maybe you don't want to be an artist, and that's great. But do you know what I mean? So you're always a real artist. Everyone's different, and everyone has different ideas of being artists. Maybe you look up to a particular artist and think that is an artist, but I'm not. Or maybe you see yourself judging one artist to another and say that is an artist and that isn't. But you know, you might have another person who actually says that is an artist, that isn't. So who's right, who's wrong? I know that there might be a lot of people in the academic world that have a very particular opinion of what is an artist and what not from the art that's been created in the past. And let me tell you, I'm not an academic in that sense at all. I've never been. That doesn't mean that I don't value academic artist work. I really, really do. And I think we can learn a lot from them. To say that there are a lot of artists who are very successful and known who have not have had any academic degree. So again, you know, it doesn't say anything about it. The artists that really make it are the ones that make it successfully as in business, are the ones that just live their passion. They just do it because they breathe it, they love it, they breathe it. And when you do that, when you breathe what you do, the byproduct of it becomes success, if that makes sense. The byproduct becomes it, even if you intentionally want it or not. So you could be an artist that intentionally goes out there to create an art business and you're breathing it, great. But that, you know, you might be breathing it and somehow unintentionally, you will still find yourself finding success with it in other ways. And that could be healing ways. It could be affecting somebody else through your art. It could be for your own mental well-being. So whatever success means, don't let that word success be determined by somebody else's vision of success. What is your vision of success? What is your vision of being an artist? And scrap what an artist should be. Scrap even the idea of who your favorite artist is and how their curriculum vitae looks like. You're creating your life, and you can create your life the best way if you're focusing on you. But inspiration that you take from others, of course, is helpful to even make you a better artist. So it all, you know, works together, but do not feel like you're not a real artist because you haven't sold any work. And the other thing, the quote that I mentioned from this other artist coach who I want to mention, her name is Rachel. She's great. Rachel Shoppy. Let me find. Yeah, Rachel. I think rachelshoppy.co. She put that quote, whether it's hers or not. I've read it on her Instagram, and I love that because you might be creating art today, and you might sell it in 10 years. You might sell it in 20. You might sell it in next year. You never know what the creation process and the actual where it's supposed to go. You don't know when it starts and when it ends, or you know what I mean. So just create because you love to create. And yeah, intentionally go after creating your art business, if that's what you feel now that you want to do. But if you're feeling like, you know, you feel judged or put down by others who have opinions that a real artist is only an artist who has ... then breathe and just release it. Because it's somebody else's truth, but it's not the truth. Okay, your truth is what's important.